Alright guys, my name is Eric, and I wanted to make a little tutorial video on how to use the indicator. It's basically a tool that I created over the past 8 months, and I basically took 7 years of trading experience to try and figure out what other indicators are doing wrong, and then I fixed that. Basically what I did is I redeveloped my own version of momentum. I essentially took a combination of 25 to 30 different criteria to then give a single bias output. And that output is pretty easy to see. It's just seen by this colored line. Green is bullish, orange is a balanced zone, and red is more of a bearish zone. Think of it as these colored lines are right now, at this moment, the market is doing this, right? So like right here, for example, right at this point here, it's signaled down. So it's like, oh yep, we're going down, we're going down, we're going down, and then it just kind of stalled out. So this is just, you know, a very small down move. But where it looks really nice, or where it's really good, is like market open. So the market opened, and right here we basically got a bullish signal. And basically any time throughout this, any period of time you could have gotten in on a long position, basically anywhere in this zone. It doesn't really matter. It's green, you buy, pretty much. And the first sign of weakness is going to be these balanced zones. So it, like, here's a small, like this little area here, it basically momentum died a little bit, and then it continued going bullish again. So again, you could re-enter here off of, after it went balanced, and you'd enter like on this candle somewhere. And essentially it gets to a point where this core momentum dies out, and you could see it like right up in this zone here. Basically from this candle here is calling the bearish signal, or the bearish output. So this whole area here basically is a no trade zone. Well, you could think of it as a no trade zone. And then right when the market started to show weakness, our bias line here turned red, or bearish. And for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes we had a bias signal before a massive flush. And like this flush here, I mean, it doesn't really matter, you get in, even if you got in here, you still had a 100-point move. And then after the 100-point move, we went right back into a state of balanced between here and here. So it was basically here to the bottom of this candle. So this area here was selling, all of this was selling, and then this zone here was do nothing, or balanced. And then we kind of go into this little chop zone where it's like it's bearish for a minute, and then it's balanced for 3 minutes or 4 minutes, and then bearish for 3 or 4 minutes, and then balanced. And this is just normal market behavior. But at some point, this momentum died out, and you can tell right here, like it's starting to like just completely die out. So yeah, you start to potentially put a long order there, and again, you know, you get 30 points in these moves. So and it's hard to say exactly how far you can take it, but I mean, at market open, we basically, you could have got in here and ran it all the way up there for 140 points. So Another way to understand bias is to look at multiple time frames. So right now I'm just on the 1 minute. But if you were to go, like, let's go to a different morning. One that's here we go. This is a pretty bullish morning. So if we look here, let's keep our focus in on this market open to I don't know, noon, give or take. There's a lot of stuff going on in this zone. On the 1 minute, you can tell we start the morning off bullish, and then we kind of momentum dies for a little while. It tried to go bearish, but didn't. And then it started to go a little bullish, just for a couple candles. And then it was balanced again. And then it was bullish, and then balanced. And then bullish, balance, bullish, balance, bullish. And it just repeats until you get a long string of balanced zone. So like right here was just full consolidation. So you have no edge when it's balanced. And then, you know, most people would be like, oh, like, when does this momentum die? Well, the indicator will tell you when it dies, but like right now it's just bullish here, 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 and then, you know, here it just keeps going. And at some point these signals start to go from bullish balance to bearish balance. So you start to see this area up here is like sort of like the topping of the market. And we can go in a little bit more detail here. Let's go to the 5 minute and see if we can see this peak again. Where am I at? Back here somewhere? Yeah, back here. So you can see, here's the 5 minute chart, and it's basically bullish this entire move, right? So in the 1 minute we had like bullish balance on this whole move, but on the 5 minute it's just bullish, this whole move is. So, and up near here we basically just flatline balance zone. And again, this, you can start to see like, okay, this momentum died right in this zone. You could technically say it died here and had a tiny little run up, and then it's now dead. So, and you could go to different time frames to see just exactly what's happening. And that's the whole point of the indicator. The indicator is supposed to take all of the thinking work out, and it just says, yep, we're going up. Nope, we're not going up. Or maybe we're going down. Or maybe now we're not going down. Like, that's basically all it's going to do. But this signal output has hundreds of lines of code to give you this output. So it's a very powerful tool. You can adjust the settings. It's pretty easy. Basically, once you get it, well, first let's show you how to get it. To get the indicator, you just send me a private message in my Discord. I'll put the Discord link in the video description here. And then I'm still in the process of setting up full automation for selling the indicator, but I'll give anyone who wants it a 30-day free trial. So just send me a message with asking for a free trial. And what I'll do is I'll add you to the private list, and then to access the indicator, you go into your trading view here, you go to products, super chart, and then once you're here, you go to indicators, and it'll show up in your invite only here. You might need to refresh your trading view, but it'll show up there, and you just add it to your chart. So it's pretty easy to do. Let's talk about some other things that you might need to do. You might get the indicator, and let's say you're not looking at the NASDAQ and you're looking at Bitcoin, for example. Bitcoin is pretty good with the indicator. In fact, everything is good with the indicator. You can use Bitcoin, you can use the Russell, You can use Apple. It doesn't matter. NVIDIA. You can look at, like, you could straight up use NVIDIA. Like, oh, look at NVIDIA all day long, do nothing. It had one big move in the beginning of the day, and that was it. It's just an example. Like, and then like Tesla. Tesla is kind of like all day long. It's been basically, I mean, basically selling and maybe going up a little bit, but nothing massive. But so yeah, the indicator works on pretty much anything, and you can adjust the settings. So let's go back to the NQ here. Right now, if you double click on this box up here, you'll get a chart setting. And what you do is you can adjust these scale ratios here. I have a little description in here of what it's doing, but essentially you can modify this signal of what you as a trader considers a clean move. So maybe you don't want as many signals, or you don't want the signal to be as powerful, so you can increase the scale factor. So if I change this to 10, if I change them all to 10, you can see it updates on as I change the values. And notice now it was bullish this entire move up, but now it's just bullish a little bit, and it's kind of bullish, you know. Maybe if we go to like 20, you could start to see that, okay, this move is nothing, but the only actual move that was important was open. So you can play around with the settings. I actually recommend the default settings of like 5 if you can get it. And yeah, it's right now it's got a signal percent box up here, and you can enable or disable that. And what that's showing is right now there's 50% of the moves are something, whether it's up or down, and the rest is just do nothing. So that's what this signal percent is telling you. Other stuff that could be useful is you can adjust the output. So right now I output on a 21 EMA, but you could put it to a 50 EMA. It does not really matter how you output it. You might even say, well, maybe I want a 13 period EMA. Well, perfect. You can put it on as a 13. In this version of the indicator, this signal is only adjusted with your scale ratio. So, and then yeah, that's pretty much it for like the settings here. Who benefits from this tool? I'd say everyone does, because the way markets move is with momentum, and the indicator is designed to show you when momentum is happening. And it's also going to show you when it's not happening. That's the huge thing that this tool does. So right here, like this zone here, is balanced, and there aren't any other indicators that are going to tell you that this zone right here is just, well, why is this not working? There it is. This zone here is just balanced. It's just junk. There's nothing happening. But this right here is bullish, and you could just see, like, okay, so what's happening? Like yeah, that's about it. Other things I want to show is my performance as a trader. So let's talk about my pre-performance. So let's say beginning of the year, I was probably averaging between 48 and 53% win ratio on a good day. You know, I was making money. I made money last year, but it was a grind. It was just endless grinding for me. So that's kind of why I built this tool, to help me improve myself. And well, I went from 50-ish% win ratio to now it's more like 65% win ratio, to be honest. Here was the last session I did. I made $3,000 in 3 days. So that's the stats of that one. Here was I had a $2,400 payout in 2.5 hours of trading. Here was the stats for that. There's probably 3 accounts linked with this, and I got an 80% payout, so $3,000 or 2,400 grand. Here's some other payouts I had here. Made some good money on this, and I had a 58% win ratio. This one here, I even on a struggling day, I still came out ahead $3,600 on this account. It was just lots of trading. Just, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, my average win ratio went from about 50% to 60, 65% in the first 2 weeks of using this tool. So, here's the first month of me really using the tool. I basically never had a red day. I just won every trade, and then I got moved to live because this is my funded future live account I got to. So, and yeah, it's just it massively improved my performances. So yeah, if you want access to the tool, join my Discord and send me a private message, and I'll get you guys added.